The cluster of bulky beige buildings in Manhattan Beach, a South Bay community near Los Angeles, looks as boring as any warehouse district. They are the khaki pants of architecture. Inside, at least two of these sound stages, however, are portals to other worlds. After The Mandalorian debuted in late 2019, Lucasfilm's special effects division, Industrial Light and Magic, began to reveal details of the colossal curved LED wall they call the volume that can envelop a film crew as effectively as any locations shoot, generating an environment that's convincingly photorealistic even to a digital camera. There's no need to ship a crew and props and actors anywhere. Everything can be brought to the studio. With three volumes, now in LA, one in London, and one in Vancouver, film and TV creators are just beginning to discover its capabilities. The glow of dusk or dawn can last the whole workday if necessary. You can freeze the sun, or if you're shooting something set on Tatooine, you can freeze two of them. Back in 2018, when The Mandalorian was first being planned, the tech was unsteady. Richard Bluff, supervisor of ILM's environments departments, had spent most of his career building virtual backdrops and knew the volume, which ILM officially calls stagecraft, could be just what the Mandalorian needed. Without it, the show would either be too costly to produce or too, I'm going to say cheesy because I don't know what that word is, to impress. The turning point came in the spring of that year when one of the most famous and exacting directors of all time stopped by. James Cameron came to visit, Bluff says. He was next door working on the Avatar sequels in his water tank. John had asked us to display on the monitors the tests we shot earlier in the day. This footage featured a Mandalorian stand-in pacing around the dilapidated ruins of an abandoned building, littered with debris and stained by water damage, with walls peeling like dead skin. The structure really exists and sits on Angel Island in San Francisco Bay, but the building's location had been scanned and imported to the LED screens, and the bounty hunter in his mirror-like armor seemed to have been transported into a decaying room. If anyone on Earth could see the seams of the effect, it would be Cameron. I remember distinctly Jim taking off his glasses and leaning close to look at the quality of the image and how convincing it was, Bluff said. I think for everybody, that afternoon was the eureka moment because it was working. 4 years later, the volume is an essential everyday tool. During a visit in mid-March, it conjures a rocky gray cavern with cliffs embedded with large tech components. Whatever this place is, it's been colonized. On the flat ceiling of the studio, you can see the craggy roof of the cave, with a rough opening that lets light pour down from a circle of blue sky. There's less clutter than other sets and virtually no dust. There's no smell of fresh paint, sculpted foam, or freshly cut lumber. The volume has the sterile ozone scent of a Best Buy as millions upon millions of tiny light-emitting diodes embedded into the curved surface evoke alien landscapes. Favreau shows off the stage like a man opening the hood of a newly restored classic car, asking if the technology allows them to make a full season of television in the same amount of time as a Star Wars or a Marvel movie. Favreau shakes his head. No, it's like half the time. And speaking of the volume, here is all of them: Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, and I want to guess that that's Deborah Chow. And I'm going to guess that they're standing in the volume, which that is actually a pretty cool shot. You know, looking past them. That's some pretty cool technology.
And kind of as an aside, go back to that quote where it was talking about half the time. I think you know what I'm saying. Oh, of course, it's essential. Otherwise, a mature code can take a lifetime to build. And now we can do it half the time.
Amazing. One of the first outsiders to see the volume was Pedro Pascal when the actor was recruited by Favreau to lend a flinty presence to the Mandalorian's anti-hero. I knew that it was an ace in the hole. I just knew, Pascal says, and I haven't been surprised by any of it. Maybe I've been a little bit surprised by how compelling the Mandalorian can be because he's faceless. But that had been a selling point for him too. The character, later revealed to be Din Djarin, is such a hardline devotee to Mandalorian rules that he scrupulously keeps his helmet on in the presence of others. That means Pascal can sometimes play the role as a voice actor while a stand-in wears the armor, which frees him to accept other projects. Maybe I'm a little bit of a commitment phobe, he says, because the coolness of it really excites me and the lifespan of it really intimidates me. So let's talk about that last moment for there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember around the time that Mando Season 2 was coming out, Michael, hearing these rumors that Pedro Pascal was unhappy with his role as the Mandalorian because, according to the rumor, he wasn't showing his face very much? He wasn't showing his face enough to satisfy himself or something?
Yeah, what about it?
This, what I just read, seems to contradict that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, all I can say is that even though I've only seen Pedro Pascal in a few projects, he doesn't seem to be the kind of guy that needs to have the camera shoved in his face.
Right,
At least,
which could be, maybe he did have problems with it. Maybe we don't. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit funny that what I'm reading now contradicts that rumor. But then again, this is the second time it's happened, this article.
mm-hmm.
And if you're wondering what I meant by that, go watch the last video.